There we go. That scared me for a minute. I was like,
It's
oh
like,
no.
no. Look at
Because
this
we've
little
both been so excited. Oh my goodness. Hi, Willow.
I miss you.
Hi.
I'm
She's so
being such a good
precious.
girl. Thank you. She's checking out her hands.
Oh, that's the fun part when they're
Yeah.
disturbing their hands and their feet and everything else.
Yeah.
Everybody's saying hi to Willow.
No. Say hi, everybody. Say, I know y'all. Y'all know me.
Mm,
She was just talking a minute ago when we were on.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
How
Oh, no,
old is
no.
she?
She'll be 4 months in a couple of days. Look,
Oh
you
my
can throw it.
goodness.
Guess what I got you? I got you a baba right here. You want it? She'll lay in my arms and probably fall asleep. I had I had like 12 people in mine a minute ago. Hey, Chris. Look here. Look what Mama's got. What are you doing, Knucklehead? What are you doing, Knucklehead?
Just breathe. You got this.
It's a lot. It's gonna
It
be
is a
great though.
lot. It is, and it's gonna help somebody, whether or not
Yeah,
it's one person or 10 or however many.
yeah,
I've got a lot of people saying they're coming, so
yeah.
I'm sure as we get closer to it, it'll be it'll be great, and we'll have all those people. So, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about yourself first?
Well,
Not necessarily your recovery, but just about you.
um, goodness, it all ties in together, so that's kind of hard not to. Um, what's
Yeah,
up? It is. Cause like the me now, like, is part of my recovery. You know what I'm saying? So, hi, sweet
yeah,
girl. Um, yeah, it just all ties in together, Tiff. Like you'll see that as I get to telling my story. Yeah, it just kind of all ties in together. I mean, I'm 38. Um,
yeah.
I love music. If y'all can't tell by my TikToks. Um, I have a beautiful little girl. I have four boys that I gave birth to, so I have a total of five kids.
Oh
um,
wow.
yeah, four boys and then a girl. And also a
Hey,
fun fact
Jess.
is, yeah, um, me, her, and my 6-year-old that I adopted out at birth, when I went to treatment, all have the same birthday. Yes,
No
girl.
way.
Yeah. Well, when I call
Um,
him my redemption baby, like he's the baby that saved my life, and then she is the baby that gave me life, again, like my second chance to actually get it right, because I made a lot of mistakes with my kids, man. I did.
yeah,
Phew, 20 years of addiction that happens though, Yeah.
yeah, it does. But the thing about it is there's redemption and the ability to be able to not necessarily erase them, but to mend them.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Oh
Wow,
my
man, you have
goodness.
five kids too, huh?
Ooh, I only have two. I don't know how you do it.
Oof. Hi, princess. You want to tell everybody night night? Tell everybody say night night, everybody.
No, not Willow.
She's going down.
She getting that milk drunk, huh?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Here, hold on, Sissy. Let me get your baby doll. Hold on 1 second, y'all. I'm gonna get her baby and she can hold on to her and she'll be out. Okay. Here you go, pumpkin. Hold your baby. Good job.
So, how we usually do it on here when we start with the stories is I like to start like at your childhood because that's generally where the problems start, and then go into when you started using for the first time, and then your addiction, and then your recovery.
Okay.
So you can get started whenever you're ready, girl.
All right. Um, well, hello everyone. Thank y'all so much for coming. I can't tell y'all how much I appreciate y'all. I just want to start out by saying that, like, each and every single day, like, y'all are motivation for me to keep going, and the outpouring of love from this platform is just, it's unreal. Like, I mean, I am so grateful for this platform and what we all do for each other on a daily basis.
Yes.
Um, and just to say that, like, people can go through life and say that they don't need those atta girls or, hey, you're doing a good job, but that's BS, guys. We all need that. We all need to hear,
Hmm.
like, hey, you're doing good. I'm proud of you. So just keep it up, guys. You're amazing, and I love y'all. So, I guess I'll just dig right in, Tiff. Um,
Okay, go right ahead, girl.
okay. Life started for me at a very young age, you guys. To say that I grew up in a dysfunctional home as a child is putting it lightly. The sexual abuse in my life started at the age of 5, by my biological father. At the age of 5, you really don't know how to wrap your mind around something like that. So it
Right.
pretty much become the normal, for me, unfortunately. And I can remember, um, I hated school so bad because I would always get in trouble because I wasn't paying attention, and I struggled really hard. But all day long, I can remember being there at school as a little girl and thinking, I hope my mom gets it the worst tonight. Maybe he'll be done when he gets done with her, he'll be so tired I won't have to go through what I go through. And I'm saying this because of one of the girls that reached out to me today. But um that went on until the age of 10, and I just couldn't take it anymore. And so I remember packing a little bag, and I went into my mom's bedroom after one of his crazy drunken stupors. And I went in there and I woke my mom up and I said, either we're leaving tonight or I'm leaving by myself. And I had full intentions of leaving. And so we packed our little car up with what belongings we could fit, and we didn't look back. Luckily, I only laid eyes on Jimmy one time after that.
Hmm.
So things were hard for my mom, you guys. I'm not gonna say that it was easy when we left there, because it was very hard. My mom was addicted to crack cocaine, and we lived out of our car a lot. We lived out of hotels a lot. Um, I can remember the only thing that I did enjoy about school was guaranteed that I was going to eat breakfast that day and I was going to eat dinner that day. And I'm not saying any of this to bash my mom. Like, I love her. I love her very much. But we all know how hard things are as mothers through addiction.
Yes.
And, so, um, I don't know. It was just really hard. We moved to schools. Me and my little sister, I moved 11 schools from my third grade year to my seventh grade year of school,
Wow.
because of my mom's addiction. And so I hated school. I was always the new kid. And so I got into drugs really, really early. I was 10 years old when I started huffing gasoline the first time. And I loved it. It was like an immediate escape from all the crap that I had been through and I was going through. And it was just crazy. Started smoking cigarettes every day at that age. And then I introduced my mom to a guy that I met at our apartment complex. I met him actually the day that we had gotten evicted. Me and my little sister come home, and all of our stuff was sitting out in the pouring down rain. And this man come walking across the field, and I was just intrigued. So he sat with me until my mom had got there from work that evening. And one thing led to another. They ended up in a relationship together. So at this point, I was already using cocaine and marijuana. I mean, eating every kind of pill I could get my hands on, just experimenting with whatever I could get. And at the age of 12, um, we witnessed my mom's boyfriend shoot and kill a man less than 5 feet from me, because he was a narc. And so I learned very, very early in life that in that world, you learn to keep your mouth shut or there's huge consequences. So I grew up very, very hard.
Mhm.
And we moved away right after that because of just everything that was going on, running from the law, scared, and stuff like that. Didn't really know what the next move was. And so um, we left Tennessee. I mean, left Mississippi, and we moved to Tennessee. Well, things were great at first when we first moved here, and then my mom got hurt at work. So she went from smoking crack every single day for 13 years to quitting it cold turkey when we moved here. And when she got hurt, she ended up falling back into addiction. So, of course, I'm still using at this whole, throughout this whole thing, pretty much anything I could get my hands on. But I was 13 when I got introduced to meth, and I'm telling you what, it was like a love that I'd never had before from no one, you know. By the age of 16, I was already manufacturing meth, and I quit school my freshman year and just completely dug myself into this addiction lifestyle. So, with quitting school and using like I was, and my mom on the track that she was, she walked out and moved in with a friend of hers. And so I was living on my own at the age of 14. Um, Started selling whatever I could get my hands on to make sure that what little bit of rent we had was being paid. Because we lived in an income based apartment. So it wasn't much. And as long as I had that rent money in the drop box, they never knew that I was even there myself. I learned
Yeah.
to survive, I guess you could say, at a very young age. Um, then at the age of 16 is when I got introduced to ecstasy, and it was a whole nother level of love for me. I got really involved in the drug scene, the after hours drug scene, raving, whatever you want to call it. And I gave up my apartment back home and I hit the streets of Nashville. And that became my life for quite some time until I met my 20-year-old's dad. Well, he was in a car wreck that killed my boyfriend and his girlfriend at the time. We were just friends. And I was living in hotels. He came and got me from the hotel afterwards. I started living there with him and I got sober. I was like, dude, I can't live like this anymore, like something's got to change. So I got sober and he fell back off whenever he found out that he was going to prison for vehicular homicide. And being in a relationship with someone that you've used with before, it becomes very easy to fall back into that with them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
Been there.
yeah, in order for us to make it in this relationship, we got to use together.
Mhm.
So we started using together, and I got pregnant with my son. And when I found out I was pregnant, I quit everything. I was like, no, I'm done. We made it up until about a year after I had Cameron. And when he was getting ready to go to prison, things were just hard. So we both just went our separate ways. He went away to prison, and I went back home to live by where my mom was. Oh, thank you, sunshine. um, Things weren't great there, you guys, like at all. Um, it was hard being a single mom, the age of 19, not even knowing what to do next. I just tried to hold on and stay sober and do the right thing and working all the time. And I had my uncle living there with us, and I got woke up one morning to drug task force at my front door, and they were there to serve a warrant on my mom, but they ended up searching my home and finding materials to cook, not in my bedroom. I'm not going to disclose where it was found, but that's irrelevant.
Mhm.
Um, so they ended up arresting me, and I was being held at Lawrence County Sheriff's Department when they showed up, or when the head drug task force showed up and said that I didn't know they had found this at this point. The only thing I knew that they were going to find was marijuana in my bedroom, and I had told them where that was at. So they hit me with a conspiracy to manufacture, automatic resale. The list goes on. So I sat in jail for 11 days. And when I got out, I walked home from the jail and there was an eviction notice on my door. And so I had 14 days from the day that the cops entered my home to be out. Well, luckily, my son had stayed the night with my sister the night before, so he didn't have to go through any of this with us. Thank God, you know.
Yeah.
Um, so I called my sister, said take him to his grandpa's house. I don't know what my next move is. Um, I'm homeless now. I mean, I didn't know what to do. So I loaded up all my stuff, put it in a storage unit, and I hit the streets in Nashville again. And I was going and visiting my son every weekend, promising him that, you know, when I'm able to take you home, I will. Well, I remember the last time I went and visited him, he was throwing a fit in his grandma's front yard, begging me to take him with him. And you guys, I could not live with the hurt. I was sober still at the time, so I'm trying to deal with all this, sober and trying to figure it out, and um I remember looking my little boy in the face and saying, Cameron, I will not be back to this house until I'm here to take you home for good. I will not hurt you over and over and over by leaving. And little did I know that it would be 7 years later. Um,
Wow.
yeah, I had planned to hire an attorney and fight and beat these charges because the stuff in my home, wasn't mine. And I had this mastermind plan that I'm gonna beat this, 19-year-old kid. Well, that wasn't that wasn't in the cards at all. So throughout these 7 years, I was homeless, living on the streets. I can remember I drive back and forth to work every day to Nashville, you guys, and the homeless population here is just out of control. It's absolutely heartbreaking. And I remember being that girl, you know, that I see that's dirty and no telling when she ate last. Um, I work literally beside the Tiger Market that I used to be terrified to go into, to where I would take my showers, I would take my little trucker's bath or whatever. And I remember being so scared, 19, 20, 21, 22 years old, that somebody was going to knock on the door while I was in there trying to shower and put on another dirty outfit that I had in my book bag, and not even knowing what my next move was. But this literally went on for about 7 years. Well, fast forwarding, or in the middle of all this, I guess I should say, I got involved with some really, really, really horrible people. Oh, hold on, I'm gonna mod him real quick. You are Brandon. Um, so I'm not even gonna disclose, who they are. Just know that they was really bad. And so I was selling drugs for these people, trying to survive, and it was just too much. It was way too much. The responsibilities that come with working for them, and
Mhm.
I made the mistake of saying that I wanted out. And on September 13th, 2008, I was gang raped by five Hispanic males, and I was left for dead. Um, I wasn't going to report any of this because I was scared to death. Well, I didn't have a choice. I had to go to the hospital. It was that bad. Investigators were there, and, of course, I'm still lying and denying that I knew who they were, and I just buried this secret, for as long as I could. Well, then I found out in December that I was pregnant. And
Oh
so
my God.
and so on December 13th, I had an abortion, and I knew the Lord. My nanny had taught me the Lord, and I was absolutely terrified, you guys, because all I could think was, God's not going to forgive me for this. And I didn't even have a relationship with God, but I was scared to death that, this was something that I couldn't be forgiven for. But I was not willing to bring a child into this world through something like that, and have to explain that one day.
Mhm.
So I went through it, and I'm okay from it. um, I met my son's father, my 12-year-old's dad, right after all of that. And luckily, after all that happened, they left me alone. And so, fast forwarding, I was with my son's dad. Very, very, very abusive relationship. Um, and again, I just had enough, and when you go through this so much in life, you start to wonder, like, is it me? What am I doing? Why is this done, to me,
Right.
which, and I'm not going to lie, for many years, I I was only attracted to the female sex because I thought that men done this to me because I was an attractive female, and like I was terrified of men. So, anyways, I got away from my son's dad and I was doing really, really, really good. And I had a house in Alabama, beautiful home. I didn't have a neighbor in sight for 3 miles. And I was leaving with my two middle boys. Great. I mean, just doing great, you guys. And I was pulling out of the driveway and I look up and there's a U-Haul in my driveway. And I'm like, well, they must be lost. So I get out of my car and I walk up to the driver's side door and I immediately knew that they weren't lost. It was the same people from 2008. And remind y'all, this is 2015. I've not laid eyes on these men since 2008. And my world shattered in front of me.
Right.
So I told them they weren't welcome there. They needed to leave. And they told me that, well, they weren't leaving, and I knew they weren't. They weren't just there to just make an appearance. So I I got back in the car with my kids and I called my mom and I said, Mom, I need you to come meet me right now. And of course she's like, I'm busy. And I said, no, you don't understand. You don't have a choice. You have to come meet me. And so that night before was the last night that my kids slept in my home with me. Um, I wasn't given an option whether to go back to work or not. It goes hand in hand. And so I dealt with this for several months and then I mean I just couldn't take it anymore, you guys. I knew that the only way that I was getting out this time was death, you know? And I ended up getting arrested. I was set up by my 10-year-old's dad. I got pulled over and they found I willingly gave them legal, to search the car. I willingly let them do that because I didn't think I had anything in there. And they immediately went to the passenger seat, reached underneath there, and they pulled out a pistol and they pulled out 8 ounces of ice.
Oh
And my
my
son was in it.
God.
So, and all I was doing was picking him up and taking him to meet my mom. But um, that day, things really, really, really shifted for me. Um, I got out of jail, and luckily, they were gone from my home. So I knew that that was God intervening, and I don't regret that day. I regret my son had to go through it with me, but I'm grateful for it. But I was completely at my rock bottom at this point, I thought, and all I could think is that I'll never see my kids again. I'm labeled now as not just a felon, but, I mean, I've got gun and dope charge and reckless child endangerment, because my
Mhm.
son's in the back seat, I'm labeled for life now, as this horrible mother. And remind you, I'm still not seeing my oldest son through any of this. Well, on June or on yeah, June 29th, I sat down in my California king size bed. I loaded my pistol and I said, "This is it. I can't do this anymore." And the scary part wasn't trying to unalive myself, you guys. It wasn't. The scary part was when I pulled the trigger and I realized that I was still sitting on my bed with the end of a cold barrel in my mouth after I'd heard a click. And
Oh my God.
so I take the pistol out of my mouth and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm still alive, and I look at the bullet and there's an indentation in the bullet. There's no reason it shouldn't have went off. 10 minutes later, I'm laying in my bed in the fetal position, bawling my eyes out because I'm thinking I can't even can kill myself right, like I can't
Right.
do anything right. I'm nothing but a failure. And 10 minutes later, my mom walked in with my kids. God saved my
Yeah.
babies, seeing that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so after my mom and my kids left, I got to thinking, and and hours passed throughout the night. I'm still trying to make sense of all this. And it hits me, wait a minute, I've not had a cycle in a really long time. I might ought to take a pregnancy test. So about 2 a.m. on June 30th, I took a pregnancy test and found out that I was pregnant. And the next day, well, that morning, I hit my knees on June 30th and I said, okay, God, if you're real, You're either going to take my life or you're going to take my addiction. I cannot live like this anymore. I just can't do it. And so I went to probation that afternoon, and I had failed a drug test 5.5 months prior, so I should have done been arrested every single week when I was going and visiting her. But God, He knew had I been arrested, like I've been arrested 27 times throughout my life. So He knew it just wasn't time for me to be arrested, that I had to completely surrender it over to Him and He would make sense of everything. And so when I went to probation that afternoon, I'm sitting there and I'm like, dude, why is she not calling me back? Something's up. And I see a sheriff pull in the parking lot. And I walk outside and I said, you're here for me, huh? And he said, well, honey, that depends on who you are. And I said, I'm Kelly Robbins. He said, yes, ma'am, I have a arrest warrant for you. So I detoxed in county, and I'd never done opiates before, you guys, but I'm telling you what, I wanted to physically die.
Yeah.
Like any of you that have been there
Hmm.
know, like it was so bad. Um,
Yes.
the meth, of course, wasn't anything, for me. It was 2 weeks in suicide watch detoxing from the opiates at 8.5 months pregnant. Um, I found out there, that I was pregnant. And so my sister, my older sister, remind you, you guys, I went 7 years when I was on the run from the law without speaking to one single family member. Not one. For 7 years, not my son, not my mother. When I went underground and was living on these streets in Nashville, I didn't see anyone. And so my sister just so happened to be passing through this little small town where my other sister lives, and she looks down and she sees my picture on, they have these magazines here and they're called Just Busted, and it's like all the recent arrests.
Hmm.
And so my sister reaches out to the jail where I was at and, lets them know that I'm her sister, da 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 da. And the jailer's like, we can't just give her information like that. And my sister said, just let her know there's money on the phone to call me. And so I called her, and well, 3 days after they put me in population, I finally decided to call. I was so torn and so ashamed of myself. And so I finally called her, and she said, Kelly, what is going on? I seen your picture, blah, blah, blah. And so I kind of gave her a brief description of what I was going through. And she had actually just come back from a youth trip with her church to this place called the House That Mercy Built. And it's in Tellico Plains, Tennessee. It's a 12-month inpatient treatment program for women. And I said, I'm not doing that. That's 12 months of my life. It's too long. I can't do that. And she said, well, just think about it. So I laid in my bunk for like 2 days, and I just cried and cried. And I said, God, I know what I'm going to do when I hit the streets. I know I'm going to go back to using if I don't get help. So I reached back out to my sister and I said, okay, tell me more about this place. And she said, well, I need to let you know that they don't take pregnant women. They don't take babies. And I said, well, what do you want me to do? Then this place isn't for me. And so 5 years prior to that, you guys, I was at church with my sister one day, and there was a song that come on, and it was Redeemed by Big Daddy Weave. And I'm telling you what, I wasn't a believer. I found myself at the altar just pouring my heart out to God, like, oh my gosh, this is my song. Like, you wrote this just for me. And a
Hmm.
lady came up behind me and she put her arm around me and she said, God told me to tell you that He's going to do a mighty work in your life, but somehow it involves me. And I'm thinking, this lady is nuts. Like, really? Like, you don't just hear from
Right.
God. Like, really? I'm like, yeah, okay. So fast forward, I'm in county 5 years later, and my sister said, Kelly, think about adoption. She said, do you remember that lady at my church? And it happened to be her pastor's daughter-in-law, but she said they're looking to adopt. She can't have babies, and she just delivered a stillborn a few months ago. Da 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 da. And I'm like, ain't no way, man. I'm not just having a kid and giving it away. And so there again, I found myself in my bunk. And I call this my first initial God moment because it wasn't me, you guys. I never could have made this decision on my own. But I found myself on the phone, and they were at the movie theater when I called, but I said, I have got a really important question to ask you. I won't say her name, and she said, okay. And so they were sitting down in the hallway of the movie theater when I called, and I said, listen, I want to know, will y'all take my baby and raise it and give it the love that I know that I can't? Give it a life that I know that I can't, so I can finally go get my shit together. And she said, yes, absolutely. And she said, Kelly, she said, I want you to know that today we were supposed to have this book turned into the adoption agency. And it's like, it's a book of the adoptive parents for each birth mother to look through and kind of get an idea of like
Mhm.
what each family's about. And so
Yeah.
she said the deadline for that book was to be turned in today at 5 o'clock. Well, it's like 7, 8 o'clock when I called him that evening. And she said, I want you to know that that book is still sitting on my coffee table at home. And I know why, because that book was always meant for you. And they asked me if I were to keep my little boy, what would I have named him? And I said, well, I'd probably name him Kai. That's I like the name Kai. And when I called her a few days later, she had looked the name up. Well, Kai means redemption and recovery. That's the whole reason why I was giving my son up for adoption, was for redemption and recovery over my life, you guys. So
Wow.
they said that they had to keep the name because they thought that that was, like God giving me a sign that like I'd always be with him. So I got released from jail and she picked me up. Um we had an ultrasound, we got to see him, and 3 days later I went into labor the morning of my birthday. And remind you, I'm like still a month and a half out till my due date. When I found out I was pregnant, you guys, and they booked me into the county jail, I was 8 months pregnant and I weighed 116 pounds. Um, so when I get out, and and obviously I'm expecting to have him early, I'm expecting all these problems with him. Nothing, you guys. God had his hand on that little boy the entire time. He is 100% healthy. He's so happy. He's so loved. He calls me his tummy mommy. We're extremely close, So there's a lot of
Oh.
guys that like have been through adoption with your kids, like, or not in your kids' lives or present. Like they love us unconditionally no matter what, man. And as young as he is, he's only 6. I think he still is appreciative that I gave him a life that I couldn't. And so 9 days after I signed my birth rights over to my son, I went straight to Tellico Plains, Tennessee, to a 12-month inpatient treatment program. I was absolutely terrified. Um, it was just something that I mean, I've never committed to anything except for my addiction, and I was fully committed to that, and I was real good
Right.
at it. But I hit the ground running, you guys. Like I never checked up. And this song, like I listened to it every single day while I was there. And it's Big Daddy Weave. I love him if y'all haven't noticed. Um, and it's called I Will Go. And when I first started listening to this song, and he talks about I will go. No matter where you call me to go, God, I'll go. And that's trust. That's faith, like no other. But I was so in love with this song. Well, um, I go home for court 1 week before I graduate my treatment program, and my state judge on the reckless child endangerment charge and dope case that I had caught with my son in the car with me, the judge is like, I'm proud of you. You're doing really good. He said, I'm going to sentence you to 7 years community corrections. And I said, yes, sir. Okay, I'll take it. And
Yeah.
so I got this gut feeling like, man, something's just not right, And he told me, he said, you mess up, Miss Robbins, I'll send you straight to the penitentiary. I said, yes, sir. You don't have to worry about that. I'm done. I will never see the inside of another jail cell again. Little did I know when I walked out of the courtroom, pulled out of the courthouse parking lot, that 9 DEA and federal agents would surround my car. And I was arrested 2016. And they had an arrest warrant for me from the year of 2015. They had built a Fed case on me that I was absolutely clueless about. I don't know what happened to Tiff. She is. Okay. Um, yeah, they had built a case on me, Tiff, from 2015 that I was clueless about, from those people that showed up at my house. Um, I want y'all to know though, as they were putting me in handcuffs, all I could do was look up and say, I'll go. Wherever you're sending me, I'll go. I never once was scared. I never once questioned it. I mean, I've done enough stuff in my life, you guys. I should have been arrested and sent to prison many, many, many years before that. But it was different this time, And he was sending me on a mission. And in Owensboro, Kentucky, and the federal holdover there, from the day that I got there, I started praying in the cell in the pod every single night with the ladies. We had prayer circle in the mornings, and then I started holding um, Bible studies um, a lot. I mean, Jess, I don't know if you're in here, but she can testify that, I mean, we'd have 12 women in an 8 by 10 deep, talking about the Lord. And I'm telling you what, I had some amazing, amazing times in that 8 by 10 cell, A29201 in Daviess County, Kentucky. Lead 13 women to the Lord, you guys, while I was just in the county. That's
Wow.
not me, you guys. That is opening yourself up, surrendering to God, and allowing Him to come in and use you, man. That's what we're here for, you know? If we're
Mm-hmm.
not serving Him and doing His work, then what the hell are we here for, you know? So, um, my best friend, a lot of y'all may know of her. I got ready to be shipped from there to another county and then off to prison, but um, well, let me back up because this is important. So I'm fighting this case, and the first offer they give me is 19 years. I had three charges, conspiracy, um, and two distribution charges that they got me on camera. One of them was also my son's father that set me up on the state case. Um, it's okay. You learn not to trust people in life, unfortunately, but
Yep.
um, yeah, it sucks, but it is what it is. Um, So they offered me, yeah, it was the conspiracy to distribute over 500 grams. I was absolutely like appalled when they were reading all this because in court they say this charge carries 25 to life. You also have another charge that carries 25 to life, and so that's all I can hear in my head. But I'm like, no, God, I'll trust you. I'll trust you. And so they ended up offering me 19 years the first time, dropping the two distributions if I would plea out to the conspiracy charge. And I said, nope, I'm not taking that time. I think that's way too long and I've worked way too hard to turn my life around. Well, it pissed the prosecutor off and she come back and hit me with 23 years. And I was like, ah, man, I should have took the 19, But I just kept holding my Bible
Yeah.
study. Everybody was asking me, how do you stay so positive? Why are you always smiling? Why are you always so happy? And I just tell them, it's not me, you guys, it's the Lord. You just have to trust him. Trust the planner, not the plan. And so my attorney reached out to the jail and I reached back out to him when they told me that I needed to call my attorney immediately. And he said, Kelly, they're offering you 16 years at an open B plea to the court. That means the judge can go above or below that 16 years. And I said, I'll take it. And so I went into court, you guys, on September the 13th. And that is the same day that I was gang raped in 2008. And I'm not going to lie, because that day has been such a horrible day for so many years for me. Like, we all go through seasons, and every time the beginning of September would come around, I would get like that feeling of that season, for me and
Mm-hmm.
what had happened. And so I was scared. I was very scared that it was going to be something way bigger than that 16. And I was also scared because I was going to be laying eyes on my son for the first time. And since he was 6 years old and his daddy died. So, and here he is, a 16-year-old boy, not seen me in way too many years, you know. And no, I take that back. He was 9 years old the last time I seen him because that was the last Christmas we had. And so, and it wasn't good at all. But you guys, I'm walking down Nashville Federal Courthouse building in my handcuffs, my shackles, your black box, your chains from your waist to your feet, and your jumpsuit, looking jail pretty. And I look over and I see this boy standing there that looked just like me, and my heart crushed. I did not want him seeing me like that. And they had already promised me that once I got into the courtroom, they would take the handcuffs off and the chain, so he didn't have to see me like that. But they had to leave the leg irons on. So, um, long story short, you guys, that day in court was the first day that I spoke out about the rape that happened to me. I did not give any names. But when you go up and your attorney decides to put you on the stand to give mitigating factors, um, you tell about certain points in your life that may or may not have affected the path that you went down, and
Right.
so he thought that that would be very important for me to tell that. And so I did, and I felt so free afterwards. I talked about, the sexual abuse I went through as a child, the murder that happened, which now that man is serving life in prison. So no one's, subjected to anything by me talking about that. But you guys, I sat up there and felt so free. I told nothing on anyone except for myself, just so y'all are aware of that. um, and the last statement I gave to the judge when she said, um, is there anything else that you'd like to say to the courts before I send it to you today? And I said, yes, ma'am. I said, it does not matter one bit what I'll walk out of here with, sentence wise. Because when I walk out of this federal courthouse today, I'm walking out feeling more free than I've ever felt in my entire life. And I also got to see the adoptive parents of my son that day. It was a lot of healing that took place, you guys, in that courtroom. But she ended up sentencing me to 10 years, not 16, not 19, not 23, 10 years. And I was so grateful. And well, right before she said that, it was almost like I heard my son say, "Hey, mom." And he's never called me mom, you guys, at this point. And so I look over and he done his hands like, pray right now. And I'm praying too. And I'm like, okay. And so I start praying. And that's when she said she was going to give me 10 years. So I took the 10 years. I went back to, and I went back to my little cell and I told my cellie, Jess, I love you. Um, I told her, how it went and shared with all the ladies, how it went. And it was just a testimony, you guys, of like, no matter what you're facing, if you'll trust God, He'll move that mountain, man. He'll move it. You just got to trust Him, and His plan is bigger than our plan. His timing is always better than our timing. And 2 months later, me and her were separated. She went to a different prison. I went to another one. But another thing, about the day September 13th, you guys, is the day that Jimmy, my biological father, had died. Like September 13th is a huge day for me, So I was just so freed of that day. You know what I'm saying? Like days are huge to me. So I make it to federal prison, you guys, and I'm not gonna lie, I was terrified. I got out of a van with 12 other men, and I was in high heels and a dress suit, and it was snow on the ground, and I was freaking out. But I was a mechanic for the first 2 years that I was there, and through all of this, I led the choir. I didn't even know I could sing, but 2 weeks after I got there, I joined the choir, and the lady that led the choir was getting ready to go home, and she's like, "I think you need to lead the choir," and I'm like, "Girl, I can't lead no choir." She's like, "Yes, you can. I know you can." And I'm like, "Lord, I cannot do this, y'all. Like, y'all are asking way too much now. We'll hold Bible studies and we'll pray together, but I can't lead no choir." Well, I did. And I'm telling y'all what, it was the most rewarding thing I've ever done, probably. I fell in love with it. I got to sing for the warden and our staff banquet. I was standing literally 3 feet away from the warden. I thought, man, the old me would never be doing this.
Right.
And then I went to work for the chaplains. I was the chapel orderly clerk. And I mean, I just like everybody in prison called me Church Girl Kelly. And I'm telling you what, when you get called a dope fiend, a whore, a bad excuse for a mother, and everything else your entire life, it was an honor to be called Church Girl Kelly. Um, I went through a whole lot though towards the end of my federal bid, you guys. I got very, very sick. I have seizures, and Dr. Death, our medical, our doctor there, whatever, was a joke, and he had me on Dilantin, and it was making my seizures worse. So I went out to the hospital 3 times. The third time I went, I had had a mini stroke, and they checked my Dilantin levels. They were supposed to be an 11, and they were a 37. And I kept trying to tell them that they were overdosing me on medicine, and nobody would listen to me. You guys, I'd go days without showering, without one of my best friends putting me in the shower or feeding me. I mean, it was horrible. And I thought, this is really like what I'm gonna end up like, after all the hard work that I've put in to turn my life around, like this is what I get to live with for the rest of my life.
Mhm.
So long story short, I end up after I come back to the compound, I was in quarantine for a month and I just refused medical treatment. I said, you can put me in suicide watch. You can do whatever you want. I'm not dying on this compound from you. And luckily, my brother in law's a doctor and they reached out to the prison. They had hired an attorney and things kind of settled themselves. Um, I got out on May 5th of last year. And I'm telling you what, you guys, life has not been anything like I imagined coming home. Everything that I prayed for while I was in prison, um, it's so much better. It's so much better. Um, the whole time I was in prison, you guys, I prayed that God would make me the godly woman that I was supposed to be for the godly man that He had for me. And I made a promise to God that I would not give myself away to another man until it was the man that I was supposed to spend my life, the rest of my life with. But when you first come home from prison, you guys, you're lonely as hell. You're extremely lonely. And when you go from being around 250 women every single day that become family to you, like I love these women. Still talk to several of them on a daily basis. They're family to me. Um, it's lonely. Um, well, I got a job. Let me back up a little bit. I got a job 3 days after coming home from prison. Phenomenal job, you guys. Like this company took a chance on me and it has been everything for me. It's been a confidence builder. I mean, I work in a high-rise building downtown. Like, that's not me, but I get to wear high heels to work if I want to and dress up and look all cute, which I love to do, and y'all know.
Yes.
Or if I want to throw my cowgirl boots on and a flannel shirt, like that's okay too. And I love my job. It's so rewarding. And they've watched me grow like throughout this year and a half. But last year when I was getting ready to leave the halfway house, um, I just downloaded TikTok and I ran across a guy I knew from 2003. He was a pro motocross racer, and he painted this perfect picture for me. Um, he was everything that I've been looking for, everything that I've been praying for. So I opened myself up to him, and I left the halfway house in September on ankle monitor. Him and I got together in November. Um, By Christmas, I was engaged to him. By January, I found out that I was pregnant by him. And I was excited because I thought this was the guy that I was going to spend my life with. And let me tell y'all what, things changed like that. He become very controlling, very mentally abusive. And I was like, dude, I'm not supposed to live like this. And I had plans of moving to Arkansas that Monday morning. I was getting my date from my probation officer to move. And so I come in from work on Sunday evening and he had all of my court paperwork sitting on my coffee table. And remind y'all, this is a box that I have that's in my closet. These papers are buried. It's 4 sealed manila envelopes. Like he had to have dug through all my stuff to get it. And I walk in and I immediately felt something rise up in me because I'm like, really, dude? And him and I kind of had words because that's a lot of personal stuff, you guys. It's mine. It's not anybody else's. It's mine. And
Right.
he said, what the F are you keeping this stuff for? And I explained, it's mine. It's not yours. Da 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 da. And we had a little bit of an argument. So I come back here to my room and I'm like, dude, I'm not supposed to live like this, you guys. And I got on my knees right beside my bed and I said, God, if there's any reason whatsoever I'm not supposed to go to Arkansas, please give me a sign. Please intervene. Well, I got woke up at 12:30 a.m. with him grabbing my face like this. And remind you, I've got a lot of PTSD from my childhood. Um,
Mhm.
and I have a certain fear of men. If I'm around a guy and he moves too quick, I will flinch. It's not something that I mean to be disrespectful towards them. It's just I can't help it. Um, so he woke me up and called me a line, FNCUNT, and things just spiraled really bad, you guys. I found out that some really crazy information, but he ended up revealing to me that he had accidentally married a sister of his. He's adopted, and so we were exchanging words, you guys, and I was ugly, and I said um, something about his sister, that he had married, which was crazy that I'm dealing with all this in the first place. And he looked me dead in my eyes and he said, me effing my sister ain't no different than your daddy effing you when you were a child. Yeah. And that is the last time I will ever let a man hurt me again. And I mean that. Um, he left. I made him leave. 11 days later, he remarried or he married a woman. Clearly he had been cheating on me with. And I'm saying all this because I know y'all, I have had many, many, many people reach out and ask me about Willow's dad, or if I'm single, or, how old's my daughter and why is her dad not in the picture? That's why. Because, and I've given him plenty of opportunity to be here for my daughter, you guys. I don't want you to ever think that I've cut him out because of mine and his bull crap. That's not who I am. I'm very forgiving, and I know what it's like to grow up without a father. And that's right, Auntie J. Um, I never wanted that for my daughter. I still don't want that for my daughter. I will go to the ends of this earth to give this little girl a life that I didn't have. That's why I work so hard. I come home every day, and she is my number one priority, and my other kids now. But to say that it's been hard is an understatement. Yeah, it's been hard, you guys. I did the entire pregnancy by myself, other than my best friend, and she is like my world. I love you, Jess, and I would not be the woman I am without her. Um, but coming home every day, even to a little girl, you guys, um, it's still been lonely, and I'm not gonna lie. What you guys have done for me on this platform is unreal. Like, I love each and every one of y'all so much. And just knowing that, like, every single day, someone's going to reach out and say, thank you, or I appreciate you, or I'm proud of you, or keep pushing, sis, you're a light, like, that's what it's about, you guys. We are stronger together. And I put that on almost everything that I post. When I comment back to y'all, I always remind us we are stronger together, you guys. Like, let's use this platform for what it's supposed to be used for. Let's spread awareness. Well, I'm getting off on a tangent, but anyways, um, through all of this hard work and dedication, you guys, I had 5 years federal release, and my probation officer put in a motion a little over a month and a half ago, and I know I had a lot of y'all praying for me on that. And let me just tell y'all, hard work and dedication truly pays off. It may not be in your timing, but his timing is perfect. I can't say it enough. I put this motion in never thinking that I would actually get released, 4 years early from federal probation, you guys. Like, it just doesn't happen. At least halfway through your term. But on December 13th, the anniversary of when I had my abortion, um, God released me 4 years early. So when we ask God to restore everything that the cankerworm and the locust have stolen from us, you guys, he does that, and he does it bigger and greater than your mind can comprehend. I didn't ask him for those days back. I didn't, and I had just accepted that. Thank you. Um, September 13th and December 13th would always just be 2 days that were a part of my life, shitty as they were. But God said, no, no, my daughter, I'm going to give you everything back that the cankerworm and the locust have stolen. And 1 week after getting released from federal probation, you guys, just this past weekend, I had both of my sons in my home with me to spend the night for the first time in 11 years. We spent Christmas together. Man, I'm telling y'all, for 7 years, that's what I've prayed for. That's what I've worked my tail off for. That's why my recovery is so important. That's why my sobriety is so important to me. When you are going through something right now and you think, how am I going to make it another day? Or how am I going to do this? Think about your end goal. Okay. My end goals were to prove to my kids I was not going nowhere this time. No matter how hard it got, I would not stop fighting to be a part of their life. And my oldest son did not speak to me, you guys, for years. You know, he came and visited me the first time in prison, and it was not good. It was not good at all. But I just kept pressing through, and I promised him that I would never give up. I'd never stop showing him, and I haven't. And you guys, the best Christmas gift I got this past Saturday, because that's when we did our Christmas, was my son standing in my living room of my home that I've worked my tail off to have. And I've never been able to say that I had a home that I obtained legally, if you know what I'm saying. You know, this place is mine wholeheartedly. And he looked at me standing in my living room and he said, "Let me tell you, Mom, right now what the best Christmas gift is for me this year." And I said, "What, bud?" And he said, "The fact that I can call you Mom." And he's been calling me Mom for a year, but he told me, he said, "When I started calling you Mom a year ago, it was a foreign word to me. I did not know what that was. I did not know the meaning behind it." And he said, "And I grew up with a lot of resentments towards you because all my friends at school would always talk about their mom this or Mother's Day that, and and I didn't have that." And he said, "I absolutely hated you." And he said, "But today I can pick up the phone and I can call you and say, 'Hey, Mom.'" He said, "And I know the meaning behind it now." You guys, there's no better feeling than that. And it didn't happen overnight.
Nothing can replace that.
Nothing can replace that. And that's coming from a 20-year-old young man that has never been able to look to me for nothing. I was nothing but a deadbeat, junkie, dopehead, sorry excuse for a mother that he wanted nothing to do with. He hated me, and he had every right to, you guys, every right. But I never stopped, no matter how much guilt, shame, backlash I got from him. I just kept showing him, "I know you feel this way, but I love you, and I'm back, and I'm not going anywhere." And my 12-year-old, when I was driving him home, um, he started crying Sunday afternoon, and I said, "Why are you crying, Bug?" And he said, "Mama, I'll remember this weekend for the rest of my life." You guys, this is what I've worked so hard for. 20 years of drug addiction, 10-year federal prison bid, abuse on every level, failure on every level, guilt, shame, abandonment. This is it right here. And I'm so grateful to be able to share all of this with you guys. And Tiff, I know you wanted me to go live. We were talking about this earlier. You wanted me to go live with you, what, about a month and a half ago?
Yeah.
And we had planned for it and everything, but things just didn't work out. But God, it wasn't time, because none of these things that are happening right now, today in my life, had taken place yet. And to me, today was the perfect day, you guys. I mean, I'm still on a high from this weekend, like I cannot explain to you. My kids, my sobriety, and where I'm at in life right now tops any high I have ever been on in my entire life. I mean, every single day I wake up when my feet hit the floor, and the first thing I say is, "God, make me a better woman today than I was yesterday." And He does it. He is so faithful, you guys. Whatever you're fighting for, people can say you can't do sobriety for somebody else. You've got to do it for yourself and yourself alone. Well, I call bullshit, because I didn't want to live. I wanted to die. I tried to die, and I couldn't. But when I got pregnant with my son and I was a full blown addict, that was my rock bottom, you guys. And my kids were my motivation. If I'd have ever tried to get sober for myself, I'd have never done it. I'm telling you that right now. I would be dead somewhere. But my babies mean the world to me, man. I just didn't realize it until I had a little bit of a clear mind for just a moment. And that was enough. So, whatever you're fighting for in your recovery, remember that. Let that be your end goal. And when you meet that end goal, what's your next end goal? And your next end goal? Like my New Year's resolution, I just made a video about it the other day, you guys, and I said I wanted to know what y'all's New Year's resolutions are, because I'm curious. I want to know how I can be praying for y'all, and I want to see y'all meet those resolutions. I want to see y'all's prayers get answered. It's not just about me, you guys. This platform is about all of us as a whole, what we're doing for each other, another life that we're saving, another person that we're giving hope, encouragement. to. That's what it's about. This isn't just for us, man.
Right.
But I put on there that to make as many memories with my kids this coming year as I possibly can. God said, we're going to start today. We're going to start before the new year. Because my baby's
Mm.
exact words were, this is a memory that I will have for the rest of my life.
And it's just the beginning.
It is. It is. You guys, life can be so great. It really can. Whether you're fresh in recovery or you got many years underneath your belt, like, I love you and I am freaking proud of you, man. Like, keep pushing. It's so worth it. Anybody that knows me on this platform knows I'm always just a message away. I don't ever leave a comment not responded to or a message not responded to. If you need somebody, I'll be there. If you need prayer, if you need words of encouragement, you need to cuss, cry, yell, vent, I will be there. Tiff, same way, you guys. This woman is
Yeah.
amazing.
Oh, you're so sweet.
I love you, girl. Like, I'm so grateful for
I
tonight.
love
You know,
you too.
I hope that I know that Sexy Red. I just hope that someone was blessed from this. I know for me alone, there was a lot of healing that needed to take place with certain things, even though I've dealt with it and I've forgiven people from my past. Each time we tell our story, it's freeing ourselves a little bit more and a little bit more of that. You know, it's like plucking those weeds out because no matter how many times y'all see me on a TikTok every single day with a smile on my face, like, I'm still human too, man, you know, and I'm still going through things, but not to make anyone think that I'm faking those videos or anything like that, but sometimes we have to just put that smile on and push through, you know, because it's hard, man. It's hard being a single mom to a newborn, you know, and trying to rebuild everything. And it's hard. It's real hard. And I'm fresh, you know, out on the street still. A year and a half being home from prison is not that long, man. Oh, here,
No.
Jess. Sorry. Her Auntie Jay wants to see her. Um, Um, it's hard. I was terrified when I come out, but you know what? Like, God's got me, and that's all that matters, man. And He's got y'all.
You're absolutely right. And I cannot tell you how much it blesses me to hear your story. And I'm gonna cry. I hate to cry, but like
There's healing through tears, Tiff.
I tell you, like God just does such amazing things.
Hmm.
And the reason that I do what I do is because He saved me from an OD that almost killed me. And I know for 100% fact in my soul that I was spared to help other addicts. And that's why, like you were talking about, I'm a message away. I will give out my phone number. Like I I don't care where you. I've got people from all over the country.
Yeah,
This platform has made like the biggest difference in my recovery.
me too.
It really has.
Too. Yeah, and Red, I most definitely will. I mean, I'm open to questions if anybody has any questions, or prayer request as well. I would love to do that, Tiff, if you're okay with it before we hop off.
Absolutely.
I would love to pray over everybody if that's okay with y'all. If
That
you
is
don't want to be a
perfectly
part of
fine.
it, y'all are welcome to hop out. But I mean, it's important to me. You know, I do that in my lives lately, and I think it's important. Here, baby. Well, I'm not going to individually pray out prayer requests for y'all. I'm just going to come in agreement with each and every one of y'all. Dear Heavenly Father, we come to you so bold and so humble and so grateful for absolutely everything that you're doing in our lives. Lord, I thank you for the things that you have done for us, the things that you're doing, and the mighty things that you're going to do. Lord, I thank you for this opportunity to continue to be a vessel for you, Lord, to allow you to come in, speak through me. Lord, I ask that you continue to use me each and every single day, whatever that may look like. You know me, Lord, I'll go. Father God, I lift up each and every single person in this live right now tonight. Father God, I ask right now that whatever prayer requests they have, Lord, that you meet them right where they're at. You answer their prayers not only in a form that they're asking for, but more abundantly than they can wrap their mind around. Lord, I place a hedge of protection around each and every one of my children, my friends and family on here, their loved ones, children. Father God, I ask that you continue to place ministering angels across their path, Lord. Lord, I thank you for it. Lord, I speak deliverance over anyone that's still lost, sick, and suffering out there. Lord, I pray right now, Father God, that you will intervene in their life just like you did mine in a miraculous way and not give them the opportunity to want to turn back, but to seek you with everything that they have. Help them surrender, Lord. Lord, I pray for all of our homeless community, Lord. Lord, these are our people, and we ask right now that while they're cold tonight, you wrap your loving arms around them, Lord. You lift them up and you make them warm. Let them know that they are not alone, but you are there with them, Father. I ask for those that have a hungry belly that you feed them, Father God. You fill their bellies full. Lord, I pray for each and everyone that is traveling to and from their destinations for the holidays over the next few weeks, Lord. I ask that everyone be able to make memories that they have never been able to make before, Lord. Let them be memories that will resonate and last with them for a lifetime. Father God, I thank you for my sobriety. I thank you with everything that I am, Lord. I thank you for everything that you've given me. I thank you most of all right now for this platform, Father God, and for allowing me to be a part of these people's lives like they have been mine. I can't tell you just how much they mean to me, but I hope they know it. Lord, again, I ask that anyone on here that may have a prayer request, Lord, I ask that you meet them right where they're at. And any snare that the enemy has placed on any of our lives, Father God, we cast it back to the pits of hell because it has no place in us. Lord, I ask you all these things in your mighty name. Amen.
Amen.
Whew. I feel like I'm on a spiritual high now.
Yeah. Like
Yeah,
God just showed up and showed out in so many different ways.
yeah,
And it's just absolutely beautiful. I'm so, so glad that we waited to
me
do
too.
this. I'm glad that that it happened when it was supposed to happen and that I'm sure your story, there's no way that your story can't touch somebody. And you and me talked about this the other day. If it's just one person, that's all that matters.
Yep,
All
yep.
that matters.
I want y'all to know too that like I don't pray for y'all individually unless you I mean I do get messages quite a bit of people that ask for prayer requests. I want y'all to know that like even though you're not inboxing me with like those requests, each and every single night I lift each and every one of y'all up. Like I said, not individually, but I do pray that God places that hedge of protection around y'all and continues to guide you every single day through your walk, whatever that looks like. We need to remember, you guys, that all of our walk looks different. It's not going to look the same. My walk's not going to look like Tiff's walk or,
Mhm.
Swaggy's walk or Brandon's walk. Like we're all going to walk different. But as long as we are there to love on each other and support each other, that's what it's about, man. And listen, if you have a bad day, it's okay. It's okay, you guys. We're not perfect. We're gonna make mistakes. We're gonna slip and fall. We're not perfect. My DMs are always open. I don't care what it is, man. If you feel weak and you need somebody to pray with you, lift you up, give you words of encouragement, or just listen to you, I'll be there. I'll do it.
And I second that. And I can tell you with 100% fact that she means it and I
Yeah.
mean it too. We don't it's not just something we say to sound good.
Yeah. And I'm not gonna
I
like,
don't care if it's 2 o'clock in the morning.
no,
I'll answer
me
the
either.
phone.
Me too. Same here. I mean, I get up early anyways, but it doesn't matter. Like if somebody needs to wake me up in the middle of the night, to say, "Hey, sis, I need you." By God, I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna be there. Promise
Right.
you that. I love you, JoJo.
Well,
Yeah,
all
it's
right, girl.
been
I
so
think
good. I love you, girl.
I love you too, and I'm so glad that you came on and shared your story. And if it's okay, I'm going to download this and probably put it on YouTube.
Yeah,
I have a YouTube channel that I upload these on sometimes,
I will,
and
girl.
yours is definitely one that needs to be out there.
Okay. Okay, Keith, I see that. I'll check it out. Yeah. Thank you, sis.
All right, girl. I
Love you
love you.
all.
Keep being amazing, and I will
You
talk to
too.
you very soon.
All right. Bye, honey.
Bye.
Keith, I seen your message. I'll check that as soon as I get off from here and I get my little nugget.
laid down. Say good night, everybody. Good night. Can you tell everybody good night? She's over it. She's out. She loves you too, Auntie Jay. Good night, sweetheart. Thursday, right, Jess? You're picking her up Thursday? Okay, yeah, I'll call you in the morning. I love you all. Thank y'all so much. It's been really good. Thanks, Jeff. I mean, I probably left out a whole lot. Thank you. Look at that cute little duck. But I think what was meant to be shared was shared, and that's what it's about. Oh, I'm glad, Mary. And I'm so, so sorry that you went through that, sweetheart. It's not easy, but know that, like, you being a survivor will help someone else. I love you for you. Knocked. Love you, Mom. Did you watch the whole live, Mom? Well, I just want you to know, Mom, that I love you, and I didn't say any of those things to hurt you, or anything like that. Like, God knows you were in a real shitty situation when we were kids. You didn't put me through so much, Mom. It's helped make me the woman that I am today, and I'm grateful for that, You definitely didn't put me through too much, Think about what I put my kids through. Good night, y'all. Sorry. I love you all. Thank y'all all so much for coming and supporting. I appreciate y'all more than you know. Like I said, y'all know my DMs are always open. If y'all ever need someone, I'm always there. Don't hesitate. I don't mind at all. I really don't. Well, y'all have a good night. I'm going to lay my little nugget down, and I'm going to, yeah, it was definitely Brandon. Yeah, it was. It definitely was. I am, Mom. Love you. Text me later if you want, Mom. I'll be up for a little bit. I'll probably be in bed by 10, but love you. Good night, bud. All right, y'all stay blessed. Have a good night. Look forward to talking to y'all either later or in the morning. I love you all. Good night. Thank y'all again for all your love and support. I really appreciate y'all.